there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Gambit. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Gambit, and as you can tell in front of me, it's not a prototype copy because there's nothing in front of me. So thank you to World of Gambit for sponsoring this video. This is a current Kickstarter campaign, so you can check out the link down below before I start explaining everything about it. But Gambit is actually a game that is still in development, and it's very unique from anything I've talked about on this channel before because it's actually a video game. So it's a video game that's currently still being developed that I have not had the chance to be able to play. However, I know a whole lot about it, and it is something that I'm very interested in being able to try out, to be completely honest. So with that, we're going to dive into what Gambit is and why you might want to back it. So Gambit is going to be an online game that is based on board games that you know and love. Things like Wingspan and Champions of Midgard. Yes, those are titles that are actually tied to the game. So there are going to be these board games, and there are concepts in the game because they're going to be actually decks that are factions that you're going to be able to play as. So you're not playing those actual board games. Instead, you're playing a strategy game where you and a friend or a stranger or perhaps the computer are going to team up against chess itself, the Obsidian King, and you're going to choose what board games you're going to represent. So you're each going to have your own decks. For example, if I want to play as Wingspan, I'll choose that deck, and then with my friend, I'm going to try to take out the challenge. Now, there are going to be different ways where you can take out the Obsidian King, but they have so much planned for this game that there's going to be different scenario challenges as well, where there are ways that you're going to be able to win based on the different things that you're trying to do. But this is a whole lot, and I'm going to try to explain it for you. But basically in the game, you're going to have these decks, and you're going to have focus points, and you're going to be using those focus points to summon your units and also use that to play some action cards that are going to augment things that are happening as well. So players are going to simultaneously have their focus points and be able to spend them. For example, you may have 3 and 3 each. I'm not sure if that number is going to change depending on the scenarios that you're doing in the different challenges, but as an example, on your turn, you may have 3 focus points. And with that, you're going to be able to play your different cards, do your different maneuvers, and then after that, chess the Obsidian King and all of his mean obsidian pieces, his monochromatic army is going to be able to use their 5 focus points to kind of come back at you and hopefully do some damage. So you're going to be doing a lot of attack power. You're going to be doing things like plus 400. It's going to feel super powerful, but you're going to have these different factions playing off of each other. So like I said, there's Wingspan, and Wingspan is able to offer a lot of support, a lot of maneuverability, but there's also Champions of Midgard where you have Vikings that are able to come in and tank and just do a ton of damage. So there's also a lot of thought there with the different decks that are able to work together, and those are just some of the ones that are already associated with the game. So there are other decks for things like Pathfinder and Apiary and Mystic Vale. So there are those games, but I can only assume that they're going to sign on more and more, and I'm really excited to see what games that you're going to be able to play as. Now, in the game, players are going to be summoning units, and you are limited to how many you are able to summon, but you are going to be summoning them all around the board. But you're only able to command the ones that are within your command sphere. So each of these different decks are going to have a general that you have, and they're going to be the ones commanding your different units. So when you're using these focus points, if you aren't able to command anyone because they're not within your current sphere, they'll also act on their own with their own automated moves as well at the end of the phase. Now, the game itself is going to be a strategy game where conceptually you're playing up against chess and you are these 2 other games, but you do just have all of your statistics, your units, things like that you want to bring it into battle, and it's all going to happen on a hex-based grid. So not only are you facing off against these classic games that are coming out here to compete against our cool modern board games, but you're playing on a very familiar hex-based grid, which I think just really ties it all into the board game theme. And then on top of that, you do have your card play. That other ways to win the game are going to be decking the opponent, so if they run out of cards to play, but also that's a way that you can lose is if you run out of cards as well, which I think is just a very natural mechanic for something like this, that I really appreciate the strategy and feel behind everything, along with the way all of the vibes are that are being curated with the board games that are brought in. Now, this is going to be a video game that you're able to play on your PC or mobile, so all you need to do is download it and anyone is able to play. And the 3 different ways that you're able to play is either with a friend that you know, so you're able to log in and play with someone that you know that you want to play with, or you're able to sync up with someone that's also looking for a game. So if someone else happens to be looking for a game, you can sync up with them and perhaps make a new friend that you'll be able to play with in the future. But there's also a computer mode that you're going to be able to play with the computer if you'd prefer that to have a bit more of a solo experience when trying to face off against the enemy. Now, this game is going to be free to play, and you're able to play it on your PC or mobile, meaning that it's going to be very, very accessible to video game players. So for anyone who loves video games and you want more board games in your life, or perhaps you have friends that are remote that you want to tie more into board games because you love board games and they're more willing to play a video game with you, this is a really great idea, and it's a great way to get exposed to board games without seeing the game itself. So you may see certain aspects of a game and it's going to give you a vibe of how they're behaving, but they're actually behaving very, very differently, fighting off in these different situations, and that may inspire these players to then go check out the board games themselves as well. So why would you back this if it's free to play? Because you're going to be able to have a lot of input in the development of the game, and if you believe in Gambit itself. So depending on the different pledge level that you have, you'll be able to have specific input on different mechanisms and things that should be put into the game. So if you want to be involved more in the project, that's a reason for you to do so. Now, with everything that they have planned with Gambit, they have a lot planned to keep it alive. They have challenges planned and weekly things that you're going to check in on and try to accomplish with your friends, and you're also going to have upgrades that you're able to do. So you're going to have your own treasure trove where you might have certain miniatures from board games that you're playing with, such as Wingspan, but then you're able to upgrade them perhaps to painted miniatures, very special nice things, perhaps dice that have a special graphic to them. So not only are you playing these games and getting more and more into the strategy and the different weekly challenges, but you're going to be able to upgrade all of your stuff as well into really nice swag. Now, while I wasn't able to check out Gambit myself, I'm very excited to do so. I'm excited for the publishers and the titles that they have attached to the project, but I'm also excited to see what other titles they get from those publishers. Rolling Realms, I'm looking at you, and what other publishers sign on, because I don't know what can be more fun than taking 2 board games and smashing them together and seeing how they can behave to help each other and behave in different ways that you've never seen them before, because you're taking the general concept of that game, making it into a deck, and then using those together to face off against a monochromatic opponent such as chess. So I don't know what can be more fun than that when you can call in a friend remotely and see what you're able to do with those different games together. So you can check out the link down below for everything that World of Gambit has planned for the current Kickstarter campaign. I've been Professor Meg, and I will see you all next time. Bye!